Hey everybody, this is Joe. Thank you for watching my Giga-Texas construction update video. Another very busy day at Giga-Texas with a lot to see, so we'll go over a few of the highlighted areas and then we'll get into the video. I'll do another talk and fly, so I'll narrate along the way. But we start off on the west side of the highway today. We take a look at some of the work that's being done for water management on that side of the highway, and then a lot of the materials that in that storage area and foundation across the highway. Then we move back over to the west side of General Assembly, and we see that near the main entrance area, the area that I thought was going to be concreted in is now actually been paved. In fact, there's a lot of paving that is going on the entire length of that area. We see much of the roadway is now paved, and then at the southwest corner we also see that area where they were working on the underground pipe and manhole access is going to be paved as well. So it looks like they're wrapping up construction on the west side of General Assembly. Then we move to the south side, where we see quite a few more Model Ys have been produced in the last 48 hours or so. We also see many car carriers picking up vehicles and getting ready to transport them off site. And at the end of the video, actually I give you some bonus coverage. As I was at the north end covering the electrical substation, I noticed one of the trucks heading up to the north on the frontage road. So I pan the camera over and you get a chance to see that departing Giga-Texas. But then we come back and we look at the south end of the main building. We see all the material that was there 48 hours ago has now been moved inside, and new materials that look like the white painted platforms that we saw at Cyber Rodeo around where all the robotic machines and production equipment was taking place has arrived in two large trucks, and it's being prepared to be moved inside that sort of stamping extension area on the south. So it looks like they're making a lot of progress inside, setting up new production lines. We also see on that platform area the large blue covered crates are now being moved into the second floor of General Assembly. So again, more production equipment. It looks like they're making quite a bit of progress inside on that side of the factory. We then move up to the north end and we take a look at more of the irrigation system that's being installed by the grounds crew right here near where I'm standing. And this is going to be putting in a permanent irrigation system that will take care of the plants on the north side of the building and along the entire west side of the building, at least for now, and then they may expand it from that point on. Next, we look over at the battery cathode plant. Again, tremendous amount of work is going on with the steel assembly. It's now about, I would say, 65% steel skeleton completed. About 35% of the skeleton now has roof and floor decking installed, which is amazing. On the west side, we see a lot more trenching, and it does definitely look like plumbing is being installed on that side of the building. And then on the east side, we see the erection of a large tent structure. And in the time that I first got there, started filming and finished up to head to other areas of the factory, that tent was already getting its canvas material, so they're moving quite fast. And finally, we move over to the electrical substation area. We see more of the grading work, specifically on the south side and in that triangular area by the power lines. But we also see large stormwater pipe being collected on that south end. And I think this confirms that there's going to be that small water detention pond, and then that pipe is going to be used to drain the water to the rest of the stormwater management system around Giga-Texas. So other than that, a lot more to see in the video. I hope you enjoyed this intro and the discussion. And it is another extremely hot and sultry day out here. So just keep all the workers in mind as they're doing a lot of the tremendous progress in these difficult conditions. But anyway, have a great day and have a great weekend. Thank you very much for watching. My drones are ready and raring to go. Let's go flying over Giga-Texas. So for today, as you can see, we're starting off west of the highway over by that material storage area, but I want to fly a little bit farther to the southwest to show you some of the work that is being done on some of the water management in this area. As you can see, just south of this river road that they have constructed, a much larger area is being prepared to try to mitigate water coming up from the Colorado River and to reshape that entire area. Also, you can see underneath the main part of the picture here, a lot of these trees. These have all been planted along the road as part of the landscaping system that extends also to the west of the main building and also to the north. And then here in the far southwestern section, you can see more work to do water management on this side of the road. Again, this is nearest to the Colorado River, and there's a large grade difference between the road and the area that they're doing this excavation work to manage the water. You can also see some pipes that will drain it from the north side under the road to this area. Also, you can see with these pipes, this is more of that temporary irrigation system that the groundskeeper has told me about. Eventually, this area also will get its own irrigation system, but for the moment, they're focusing on the north and west sides of the main factory. Also, you can see here the remnants of the hills and valleys from the sand and gravel mine, and at some point, hopefully, we'll see this removed. So now we're flying over to the material storage area on this foundation that has been sort of sitting here for about a year or so. But I want to just give you a closer look at some of the materials that are being staged here. There's everything from cooling systems to these large tanks that you can see that still haven't moved yet. Also to the left, those are some of the Ingle Plastics machinery that we've seen loaded into the plastics manufacturing section. Down just passing underneath the drone, those are rackings for wiring for inside of the factory for many of the robots and materials. We see these blue materials here. That is some more mounts for the solar panels, and there's Longi and Cells solar panels at least. So those are at least two of the companies that are providing the solar panels. We also see more of the steel ramping that will be installed at some point. We're at the main factory, and some other containers that have a lot other materials. So quite a bit for all over the main factory and construction area stored over here temporarily. So we moved back over to the main factory side of the highway, and as we fly down this western side of the factory, I want to show you the amount of paving that is going on. It's pretty much the entire length of this section of the road. The other section of the road should be completed fairly soon, and all of the concrete and the median is pretty much completed as well. Here you see some of the crews discussing the work to be done to complete this part of the road. Also, I'm going to fly across the road over to show you there was a area that I thought was going to be concreted in. We're just passing it over here, but now it's just been paved and turned back into a parking area. So perhaps this area in front of the main doors is just going to remain as asphalt, at least for the time being. But we're going to fly down this side a little bit more. You can see more of the road work. Some of it is paved, and then the part where that white truck was driving will be paved a little bit later. I saw this ramp and these parts, and I thought I would get a closer look. What these are these are stacked castings for the Model Y, and you can see there's quite a few of them. I don't know if these are going to be used for the upcoming shareholders meeting or if these are being used for testing of production, but nevertheless, there's quite a few of these castings stacked together right next to this metal ramp. And then we're going to continue a little bit further south, this last remaining area where we saw them working on the underground piping and manhole access covers. Looks like this is just going to be paved as well. It's on the other side of this small retaining wall, so it looks like they've just decided to do asphalt paving here instead of concrete. So as we approach the south end parking area and transport for the Model Ys, what is immediately noticed is a lot more Model Ys have been produced. Many more are coming out of the south end of the factory, going over to the supercharger station or being moved around to other areas. So the pace of production is definitely picking up, and the visual proof here should give you a lot to consider when we talk about what the production levels are. Still has a ways to go, but it's definitely on the uptick. And you can see there's several of the cars that have just came out of the south end of the building. At this loading ramp, we see some of these blue large crates that have been stored temporarily just next to the crane being loaded to the second floor of General Assembly. There also looks like some excavation work going on the first floor. But this blue materials that are going in these large crates are for production, and it's another great sign that they are working on more of the production lines within General Assembly. Also here we see most of the materials that were stored 48 hours ago have been moved inside, and crews here are working on something with the windows. I'm not sure if they're going to be removing the windows or if they're going to be painting or if they're going to be doing some other modifications. But some of the lights also seem to be removed along the side of the wall, so it may be part of painting. But I'll continue to monitor this and we'll see what transpires. There is some activity over on this side of the stamping, specifically these two trucks that are arriving. Later on, I was able to get a photo, and we talked about this in the intro. They opened up the trucks and they had white painted platforms and staircases. These are most likely for production lines, but I have heard at least one theory that maybe these are parts necessary for the upcoming shareholders meeting. I think it's more for production, but we'll have to monitor this and see what happens. But as we pan over to the south side, you can see right underneath the drone, more solar panels and mounts and inverters have arrived. We see more of the Model Ys off to the left-hand side. We also see this platform is still here, but I think it was going to be moved at some point, and I'm still curious to see where it will go. Also, we see mobile transporters for cars have arrived. There's two here. Several other ones arrived while I was flying around the site. And as mentioned in the intro, at least one of these was heading north on the frontage road, north of Giga-Texas towards Austin. So the trucks are definitely moving the vehicles off-site, and that's another great sign. So here I'm going to do a higher altitude look at the entire parking area. On the left is that temporary parking location, and then as they, I guess, assign customers or bins or for the cargo transports to pick them up, they move them over to the right side where the trucks will pick them up in the transport area. So while we're on the south side, I decided to fly over the Colorado River down towards the electrical power station, and you can see the cooling towers here, but I just wanted to give you a brief look at the directional drilling and the treated water pipe that is being prepared by the crews to be pulled underneath the river. There's a purple pipe that's 36 inches or about a meter in diameter, and the black pipe's about 30 inches or maybe 0.75 meters in diameter. Both of these will eventually be pulled underneath the river through these bores, and you can see the holes there. And I'm going to fly pretty quickly across the river right to the north area across the river where the pipe will be pulled through, and you can see crews are getting their machinery and other components ready for the pull. And right now it looks like they're working on the actual drill itself, and you can see the crews over on that yellow device. But we should see some of the pull of that pipe in the next month or so. So as we fly along the east side heading to the north, I'm just showing you this temporary loading platform again. It looks like a lot of activity around there, and this excavation area where they're building a loading ramp with more of the cargo doors cut into the walls. And 3 of them are there. There should be more. But right now it looks like they're working on plumbing, and it looks like the excavation is now extending farther to the south, very close to that large roll-up door. I'm also going to pull back a little bit. I want to show you this clearing area. For a while they just had some of the piping for the underground piping or some other piping work inside the building. But now it looks like they're starting to store more materials here, some dirt and also some other construction materials as well. So this area is probably going to grow with more parts and materials, maybe some equipment, and we should see some more activity over here. Also, this clearing area continues to get dirt piled up, and then they smooth it out. They are raising the grade significantly. You can see how much higher it is from that outfall channel now, probably at least 5 meters higher than that channel. And then there's still some of that concrete debris that's being stored there as well. So as we fly over the east side, headed towards the battery cathode plant, you can see the southeast part of that large parking area has more of the trenching that we talked about for the electrical conduit. You can see a tremendous number of these containers. The sheer size of this is a direct correlation to the production rate and what we're seeing with Model Y, so it's another great sign as well. So we're arriving at the battery cathode plant, and as I fly along the east side to the north, I'm going to just slow it down just a bit so you can just appreciate how fast this is coming along. It's now, the structure itself, the skeleton is about 65% completed. The roof and floor decking is about 35%, and a new tent structure is being erected here. And the speed of this work on the tent is incredible, because I went and flew a few other areas and then I came back for some more photos, and by that time the canvas was already going up on the tent. So really fast progress there. But as far as the main building itself, it's just amazing just how fast this is going. Like I said, it's about maybe 65% or so completed. There's much more of the building now than there is what's remaining for the footings to the north. And as I pull back here, you can see just how little bit of steel remains based on what we've seen before with all the steel laid out. And you can see how close the building structure is to the north perimeter grade beam, and that's right where all those orange dividers are. So we're going to fly across to the west side of the battery cathode plant. You can see how close the structure is to this tree, and that's a great marker or indicator of the progress. The crews are busy with some more columns that have just recently been installed, and on this side also crews continue to work on the underground trenching for what is pretty clear now, plumbing. And you can see quite a bit of the plumbing pipes installed and being configured for how they're going to be used in the future. But you can also see here, sorry about the sun, but how much of the roof decking materials have been installed, and you can see that platform where HVAC equipment will be installed. So here we are over at the new substation, and I'm going to show you this area on the southeast corner of it, how it is continuing to be modified, and it almost looks like this might be some roadway or something else, but the shapes are quite interesting to see as they develop. And you can see more excavation now. The trees have been removed, and they're going to continue to level that grade for that area. Also, as you can see, quite a bit of storm water corrugated pipe is being accumulated over here. I believe what this indicates is that there is in fact that small triangular water detention pond. This is going to be used to drain the water away from that pond and then connect to the main stormwater management system that's all along the east side of the building. And I think this is a confirmation that we are in fact having a water detention pond. You can kind of see that just on the top right of the screen. But a lot of progress continues here with the grading work, and it's great to see now that they're right abeam that temporary electrical substation. So I want to fly over towards the triangular section, but as I was moving the drone this way, you can see on the frontage road there's a truck carrying a whole bunch of Model Ys that just picked up from the south side. So I'm going to abandon the view here. We're going to follow the truck really quickly. So as a little bit of bonus, you can see that truck departing to the north from Giga-Texas. So more Model Ys heading to happy customers. But now we're going to return back over to that triangular area just to show you the progress over the last 48 hours. They continue to try to raise that grade, and I'm curious to see if it will eventually be level with the rest of the grade. I thought I'd come over to the southeast corner of the parking lot just to give you a closer view of the trenching work. Again, this is electrical conduit for light posts. As we talked in the last video, 2 more of these trenches have been made. I believe those are the final trenches, but we might see a few more. But hopefully once this is all completed, we'll see light poles installed on the parking lot. And speaking of which, this parking lot over here looks like, for all intents and purposes, it's ready for paving. All of the trenching, conduit, the mobile chargers, and the bases for the light poles have been installed. And it looks like there is some activity inside this east entrance area, but still waiting to see the glass and the doors installed. I'm going to pop up onto the roof just to show you some of these enclosures for the HVAC. This is over the north part of body in white and the south part of the casting area. Looks like there's a little bit of work on one of them, but I think this is the area that is functional for most of the factory. Also, we can see the progress of the solar panel installs up near the T, and you can see how that expansion is moving to the north to eventually fill out the whole roof. And I'll give you a close-in view here of some of the workers that are laying out more of the mounts. And again, these mounts are held on by bricks on the mounts, and it's part of the manufacturer's suggested and recommended way of mounting them onto the roof. We also see the enclosures here. The 5 remaining now have been wrapped with plastic, and I think that's for weatherproofing as they prepare, as you can see with those white materials, to install more of that enclosure. But I'm going to pop back over to the northwest corner just to show you the progress. Most of the paving work is now completed. The concrete work that we saw 2 days ago is pretty much completed as well, and you can see what I think may be stormwater grates along the sides. But as I spin the drone around, you can kind of see down the side of the building and how much of the paving has been done for the asphalt on the roadways that they've been working on the last few days. I'm also going to pull back to the north here so you can see the amount of irrigation system trenching and work that is being done, also some earthwork. As you can see along this entire side, quite a bit of trenching has already been completed. Near where all the cars are parked, you can see those purple pipes. Those are getting ready for installation. And as we come here on the north side looking down, you can see the irrigation trucks that are working to install that system. Again, the temporary system involves using large trucks that are hand watering this area, and they use about 80,000 gallons per day. It's a lot of manual labor, a lot of really non-sustainable as far as keeping the plants healthy. So the irrigation system will be very well used on this side and along the west of the factory. So on the north end, each platform has its own crane now, and all of them seem to be active, moving parts up and back to the platforms, and in some cases to the roof. Over here on the plastics platform, you can see another crane kind of idle at the moment, but it's always getting materials delivered and installed. And then the one for the paint, same thing. But as I pan a little bit further here, I noticed this truck with some interesting steel structures. I'll give you a closer look on it. I'm not exactly sure what these are. If you know, please let me know in the comments, but very interesting. Another thing I want to show you here is these large crate deliveries to the casting machine structure area right next to the recycling trucks. I tried to get as close as possible to see what was written on the crates. It's very difficult to do so, but I do not think that these are Idra, but you never know. It could very well be. And I will continue to try to get more information on that. But a lot of crates, as you can definitely see, next to the casting machine structure. So exciting no matter what, just to see more of the production equipment arriving. So now I'm going to do a big pull away just to give you the overall view of the site today and the activity. Another very busy day, as you could see, and I appreciate you watching, and it's coming up to the weekend, so I would just wish you a great weekend, and I will see you back next week.